Hey folks, how you doing? My name is Larry, and this is Aging for Beauty with Larry and Nick. Um, we're here to talk about a variety of different subjects, different things. This young man is just the one to teach me about life, and I can teach him all the things that I know about life. So we're looking forward to taking a whole different look at a whole bunch of different topics. We are new to the YouTube family. You know me from um, oh man, I'm losing my mind. You know me from the other podcast with a seat at the table with Larry and Melvin. This podcast is going to examine everything from a young man's perspective. As I say, none of this is rehearsed. None of this is research. Just common talk, barbershop talk that we can get all different ideas from. Uh, you already know me, so Nick, introduce yourself.
Nick, man, my name Nick Taylor. I just try to evolve, and it's about evolving. And right now I'm here, you know, first show, pilot season. Man, I'm here with Larry, and we just want to just give knowledge to the world, just general knowledge, general opinions. You might agree, you might disagree, but just know that there's other people thinking the same way that we're thinking. So just keep your mind open and just enjoy it.
Yeah, keep it open and enjoy. And don't forget, we need those subscriptions. Subscribe. Come down and check us out. It's that little red button right there. Come and check us out. Make sure that you continue to get all our new comment. As time go on, we have a lot of other plans that we're going to add to this platform, as well as we want you to comment. We want to understand. We want to know what you think. We want to know how you feel. So please reach out to us at any time, anywhere. Comment on our stuff. Subscribe. And please, let us know what you think and how you feel. So, getting started, I was thinking about, and it was funny, I was watching this show on Fuse, and it was talking about the black vote. And kind of wanted to get your feelings on how you feel about it. Because one of the big things that your generation is doing that I find that's really, really intelligent is that you're not going Democrat or Republican. You're going, who's got your best interest in mind? And I find that great because for so many years, it was always the Democratic Party that felt like, and it's my generation too, that felt like just because the Democrats, the black vote is in the bag. And that's not necessarily so. So please give me your insight on how that works.
Well, from the start point, I would like to start with we do vote, but I still don't think it's as much as we should be voting. Like, for instance, I believe things like voting should be stressed as important when a kid is like in first grade. The same way a kid wants to drive as soon as you're 16, 17, 18. There's no excitement in voting.
Why do you think that is?
Because we downplay it. Like we don't stress the importance of the vote. We don't stress the importance of being together for a common cause.
Right.
Most of the time, we feel like our vote doesn't even count. Like we're ignorant. Like we're very ignorant to the fact of the importance of it. And ignorant just means just not knowing something. Like, it doesn't mean bad or bad word. It's just that we don't know as a community as a whole because, most of our parents didn't know.
Well, see, this is where the old knowledge used to come in because, voting wasn't stressed. And the reason why voting wasn't stressed because the people didn't really want you to vote. What the people really wanted, the powers that be, we're going to keep it light on our pilot episode. We're going to keep it light, but
True.
The powers that be didn't want a heavy vote inducement. What they wanted was they wanted their votes to come by, so they didn't want to push it as something that was viable to any other community except for the white community. So what happens is you have all these different people who came along who push, well, oh, you don't need to vote. That stuff, they don't even care. That vote ain't going to be important. Then, so what you end up having is by the time when black people started to realize the vote was important, you have to understand this is years after Jim Crow. Well, white America had made the mistake of saying, well, if you're not voting, that's your fault.
True.
And that's why the younger generations, starting to get toward my generation, was saying, okay, well, if something happened and we didn't vote, then you got to take the blame for it. You got to take the hit on it. which prompted us to get out more to vote. But the only problem is that a lot of people still don't vote. A lot of people around my age didn't vote because we tend to be reluctant because we don't see what's in it for us. So instead of us even trying to say we want this out of this vote, you need to look out for us on this vote. We tended to go with the Democratic vote because the Democratic was the only parties that sat back and was like, okay, well, we got your back, black people. We're gonna march with you.
True. And like, you know, what I'm saying is, like, I'm saying that, you know, we just don't know. Take Obama, for example. Yeah, I voted for Obama. Yeah, we vote for Obama. We love Obama. Just ask that same person, just name 3 things that Obama did. Not to downgrade Obama, but they don't know.
But see, the thing
They're
about
just voting because
that's the guy's
it's the niche to do.
Let's take it. Let's be honest. Barack Obama was wanting to do a lot of different things, and Mitch McConnell, calling you out, Mitch McConnell, Mitch, Cocaine Mitch, Russian Moscow Mitch. He was one of the main ones who was preventing Barack Obama from doing anything. John McCain was another one. You're not black people's president. You're the president for all America. So by the time when Barack Obama started getting his power and was getting his wings underneath him, where he was ready to move on different things, he had lost the Senate and the House. So they was like, and Mitch McConnell was saying straight up, I'm not going to meet with none of your judges. I'm not going to budge on nothing. Anything you want to do, we're not going to do it. But when Barack Obama had the power, Mitch McConnell, well, you know, you got to be more laid back. You can't, no, you got to do this and you got to do that. And by the time when it really happened and he had the position where he was wanting to take these strong positions, it was too late.
Now, you know that. Now, how many people my age is going to know that much? Where's our outlet to know that much? Because it's a different crowd. CNN doesn't attract us.
Well, what you have to do is that's when you got to take it upon yourself to find that information.
Self-learn.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
self-learn. And plug that in real quick. Self-learn. No, the white one.
The white one?
Yeah, plug that into the side of the laptop.
Okay.
We're going to have to. No. Sorry, folks. Technical errors.
It's all good. We keeping it real here.
So what generally happens is a lot of stuff that I have learned. Most of the information that I gained over the years by reading. A lot of the information I had gained, I amassed a lot of it from being and this is a different type of era. So you folks, young people like you, consume information different.
Well, look at the setup though.
Right.
Okay, now look, and so you have the presidential campaign on, right?
Right.
At the same time,
yep.
You have Empire on.
Exactly.
Now, look behind the scenes. That is
God's honest truth.
That's plotted.
They put these shows on there and they put it in prime times just so
it can be a distraction.
People, it could be a distraction. So you get distracted by the shows that you want to watch, and most young people are gonna be like, I don't care about that. And then you have all this propaganda. The American propaganda machine is one of the most intricate and most amazing things that you could ever see. So once it's kind of like watching that movie, The Matrix. When you start to be able to see the ones and zeros, you start to expand your mind on everything. Of course, they're going to put the presidential debate on primetime television because then all the people who are going to watch it is going to be the people around my age.
Exactly.
So but you got to understand that most of the people who are going to react to it are going to be the people, or the baby boomers, the people who are older than me. Mostly older whites, because the older black people are not going to worry about it because they're like, I ain't got time for that. But there is one section of the cross section that has been just the most amazing, and nobody caught it. And Roy Moore fell because of it, and Trump is falling fast because of it. Black women. I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. Black women are the biggest influence in voting on this planet. Black women vote together. They vote in blocks.
Facts.
Black men, we will turn around and be petty, or we'll try to be contrarians, or we'll sit back. I'm not dealing with that dude. I'm not going with y'all. I'm not voting. Black women will turn around, and I said it before. Black women will look at each other and be like, I don't like you right now, and you know I don't like you, but we got something bigger to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna come back to our issue, but let's deal with this main thing and vote together on this. Black men cannot. This is the thing. Black women have been one of the main ones. You look at Roy Moore. 98% of the black women in that state voted against him. 15% black men voted for him.
Separation.
Yep.
Separation.
And so when you have a lot of people, 9 times out of 10, black women will vote in everyone's best interest, and they're the main ones that are vilified, mistreated, and treated horribly.
And you know, I hear where you're coming from, and because you're speaking facts,
right?
But once again, from my point of view, I think that's a part of the problem.
It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem for us as black men. We
have too much separation off of skin color, off of culture.
Oh yeah, that was a part of the plan.
Yeah. Like we got too much separation, so everybody, like you said, everybody has their own agenda because they want what's best for them. But if we come together, we can find what's best for all.
So the problem with that, and this is something once again, and this is why this is going to be an amazing first episode. Most people got to understand that us as black men, we had a lot of our loyalty trained out of us. We had our loyalty because we had the house nigga to the field nigga situation. And that's where the lighter shaded black men were allowed in the house.
Okay.
And they were the ones that served the food. They were the ones that ate directly off the plate, and they was able to eat the scraps and things like that. You had the field nigga that worked outside.
Okay.
That was all part of the Willie Lynch doctrine. The Willie Lynch doctrine told them, if you keep the mind weak and the body strong, you can have 100,000 generations of slaves that will continually do whatever that you want them to do. Part of that, keeping the mind weak, was a disillusion of keep them inner fighting.
True. Yeah.
Keep them fighting each other.
Separate
and they
the
won't
house.
Separate. Keep the field nigga in the house. Keep the field nigga out the house. Keep the house nigga in the house. Also, separate them by classes. That's when you have the certain ones where you give them a gun and say, you know, if he goes past that line, you kill him. And what they do, I'm closer to what the other guys. I'm like them. That is all these different things, or different things that have been prophesied by Willie Lynch.
True, but I understand that program is strong.
Right.
But we're not slaves anymore.
But we're not slaves. But
the program is still ingrained.
The program is still going.
But we are not. We don't have to we don't have to have that type of mindset of thinking.
The reason why, and you also got to remember too, though, this is another thing that was also propaganda. It was prophesied, and it was also propaganda that's being used consistently. Why do pimps and players like to wear diamond jewelry and drive
to catch the eye? To catch the eye, to have the ambiance.
So those were the guys that were, because you get. So what happens is you had redlining, which was making it impossible for black people to live in white areas.
True.
Made it impossible for them to get loans for houses. Made it impossible for them to get business loans. So what we had to do is we had to hustle for everything we got. But then you had the pimps, the drug dealers who didn't have to work as hard. They had the beautiful women. They had the flashy cars. They had the nice jewelry and everything else. You look at it in terms of today. Who are the new pimps and players? The rap stars. The rap stars walk around with diamond. They spend, I spent 50 on my chain. I spent 50 around my neck. I got 50 on my wrist. Those things are the things that propagate the situation to where people are not looking at the guy who's a janitor, the guy who is a lawyer, the guy who works at the factory, the guy who works 80 hours a week, or the guy who owns his own barbershop, the guy who cleans up after somebody else. They're not looking at these guys. They're looking at the guys who are being flashy. So what makes the guy who has a regular 9 to 5, he has to work 10 times as hard to get the flashy stuff. So they're going to get discounted.
That starts from your foundation. That starts from your upbringing because I have pimps in my family.
Yeah,
I have cousins that are doing time.
I mean, I've had a lot of family members.
And my mom told me the reason why that I'm on. She knew that she was on me tough. She said the reason why that I'm on you tough because I want to keep you out of prison. And I didn't understand that at age 5.
No, you don't.
At age 6, at age 7. But now I do as a grown man. So what I'm saying is, yes, we have had to come from further back, but we can't keep on using the same clutch the same excuses.
But this is the thing. They turn around and what happens. So you look at people who turn around and monetize off of our disparages. You have people when you see people who are talking about selling drugs and then they go and you have somebody like you look at some people like Talib Kweli and Common. Hands down top rated lyricists. Ridiculous amount of intelligence, ridiculous amount, but they're talking common sense stuff. So why you have people like Trippie Redd that's making millions upon millions of dollars, or you have people like what that little kid named Lil Pump making millions upon millions of dollars, but then you have the people who have something calm, cool, collected. That's what Jay-Z said. I wanted to rhyme like common sense, but I made 11 million from the source. I ain't been rhyming like common sense because people like Common are not getting pushed out there. His last album was Let Love. How can you monetize that in a way to where the record labels can go ahead and push that? They're not trying to push that.
We are so programmed to pay attention to the wrong stuff.
Exactly.
Okay? You know, you got two types of people in this world. You got the go-getters and you got the watchers.
Exactly.
Some people don't even believe that they can do certain things. Like they limit themselves. So when you look at like the Jay-Z's, when you look, you know, man, at the Oprahs, when you even look at Donald Trump, take Donald Trump. Well, he had $1 million to like start his empire. He could have blew that $1 million. He still had to have some intelligence to make that. Now, true enough, he might have some networks.
He had people. He had avenues. He had people working with him.
But he still could have blew it. But he still could have blew it.
He did 3 times over.
He still could have blew it because, like, I was watching First Take the other day, and Shannon Sharp said that most of the retired NFL players, 85% of them, after they retire, end up broke. 85%.
I have a good friend of mine who played for the men. I had a good friend of mine. I had a good friend of mine that played for the Vikings, and he ended up sleeping on my couch a couple of times when I was.
How?
Because a lot of people they think that their money is going to be consistent and believe that they never have to worry about it. You got to understand, not everybody took the Jordan stimulus package or the Michael Jordan, or the Magic Johnson stimulus package or the Larry Bird stimulus package. And this is where they had to, like you said, people don't know how to deal with their money. They didn't understand credit.
See, and you know, like this conversation has evolved into more of a society and a racial outlook.
Right.
You know, like that's what we do. You know, where it goes. You know, man, it evolves.
Once the bills are paid, we're gonna spend everything else on whatever else we want to spend it on, and that's generally been the case.
See, but from our end, you know, well, I can speak from me. You know, I had to reprogram myself. I was not taught, but really what I've seen. So like basically as a kid, you're a human sponge. I was taught, okay, you use credit for things that you need. Okay, you know, house, car, this, that, this, and that. Now, as I have unprogrammed myself, did some reading, started looking, I know now credit is a tool.
Exactly.
Don't use your credit to get into debt because it's a trick.
But the reason why a lot of people get into these debts is because as young, I know as a kid, I wasn't taught debt. I wasn't taught credit. Only thing I was taught, save.
Yeah.
That was the only thing you get told. Hey, save your money, man. Save your money. You didn't teach you where you can take your money and save it in multiple different ways. And as you start to save your money, and then like I didn't really understand credit till I started working I used to work for Morgan Stanley being with. I didn't understand credit till I started working for those guys, and that's where I started to see how people can take money and change it and use credit to reinvest and create more wealth.
When I was in college, this is a true story. You have college students taking 15 hours, 19, 20, 21. Nobody has a job. You have guys, about 4 or 5 of them, walking around campuses offering credit cards.
Oh yeah.
So what is a 19-year-old guy?
Money I ain't got to pay right now.
Money he ain't got to pay right now.
Yep.
He's on his own for his first time.
Yep.
What do you think he's going to do with this credit card?
He going to go buck wild.
He's going straight to the mall.
Didn't you look at...
And like now, he has set himself back in debt when he don't even see what's even going on playing the game.
Well, see, and see that gives, and that brings in the perfect segue because you got to remember, even if you said no to the credit card, you said yes to the school loans. So Sally Mae's going to get hurt.
True, but what I'm saying though, you see,
you're already a step back with Sally Mae, and now you done dig yourself 20 feet deeper.
And you see, like this rabbit hole goes deep, real deep, real deep. Most of the people that are especially our color, like we don't got enough money to pay for college cash out.
Nope.
We the African American, black, brown people, whatever you want to say, really just started trickling into college in about 1970.
Yep, that's very true.
Just trickling in.
Well, see,
just really starting to go to college without having to play ball.
But that had everything to do with when they had affirmative action. They had affirmative action in business, and they had to do affirmative action in college because not a lot of people. Because what happened is when they had the affirmative action came about, the affirmative action went to the businesses, and they was looking at all the top businesses, and they said, okay, well, how many African Americans do you have? Oh, we got 20%. How about in middle and upper management? 0. Why is that? Oh, they don't have a school. We require all our upper and middle management to be in college. So they went back to the colleges and said, well, why are African Americans not making it? Oh, they got the grades, but sometimes, they just ain't got the money. So how are these other kids doing? Well, they're taking loans. Did you give them a chance to get the loans? Well, they didn't ask us.
Yeah. And
so what ended up happening, and this is, I mean, control, but what ended up happening is you look at affirmative action was a way to make sure that schools were upholding their fair play.
The quota.
The quota. But the quota was a good thing in its conception because the quota was needed to bring more black students into the classrooms to get those advanced degrees, to get further loans.
True.
And then, because you also got to remember when they first started really having HCBUs was not even recognized. Their degrees were not even actually recognized as formal degrees.
Correct.
And then when they started to give them formalized degree program and saying, okay, well, these are actual bachelors that you can use. You can claim it now, even though it's from a historical black college or university. That's when they started. That's when it became something more interesting because when more black people started being able to go to Princeton, Yale, Harvard, UCLA, Notre Dame, Villanova, all these different colleges, it became more of a point that all these people that the businesses had to. So they basically just tap it. They basically had to break in. We had to kick that door open in order to make sure that we can keep a level playing field. And then it's like, and what's funny, and I find it horrific, and I've actually had about 5 debates on it, and about 3 or 4 of y'all got mad, and it's okay because you can get mad because now you hear a lot of white men that are saying, well, we're losing our rights. We're losing our ability to go to school. We're not getting this and we're not getting that. And I tell them, with all due respect, and please, if you're watching, I want all the smoke on this, and I'm looking at all y'all. Y'all mad because it's fair. Y'all mad because you don't get to just show up with your little letter and your little thing and say, okay, well, I'm ready to get my degree. No, you got to compete now because there's a lot of black kids that are getting more intelligent.
And when I talk about the difference, between color, like that's just me just simplifying it because I really believe, that there's white people trying to make it just like a black man trying to make it, just like a Mexican person trying to make it, just like an Indian person trying to make it. But the world has been so
inconsistent with its treatment
and contained with ignorance.
Exactly.
I used to be a school teacher, and a person told me, "Well, you don't look like a school teacher." What does a school teacher supposed to look like? But that's just society of what society says what a teacher is supposed to look like. Like a teacher isn't supposed to go to the gym.
I tell you what's funny. One day I was coming to work and I had a suit. I was wearing a suit like naturally because I was working for Morgan Stanley. And I walked up and this lady came up to me and she said, "Oh, so you're applying for that janitorial job?" And I looked at her and I smiled and I said, only if they got a new thing going on upstairs at Morgan Stanley. And, oh, you work for Morgan? Oh, I'm so sorry. You're not sorry. You could care less.
Yeah,
You
you know,
just
man,
saw
automatically.
you saw
Automatically.
you automatic off the top. Your first thought, even though you saw me wearing a suit, was that. And so which that is the worst
Yeah.
segue possible. But we're gonna move on to the baby. I like this kid. I'm betting on you, the baby. I'm betting on you because you're trying to make good choices. But I think you need to take a look at Tupac's past and see that a lot of times it's your friends that are going to cause your main downfall. He had been arrested a few times,
Mm-hmm.
and one time he got arrested because he beat up this guy and took the guy's
Mm-hmm.
money. But it wasn't even him; it was his boy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times with the same, I draw those comparisons because I remember when Tupac had got shot up. His
Mm-hmm.
boys were the ones that dove and ducked, and Tupac was standing there and he got shot.
Yeah, yeah, true.
The time when Tupac was when he got arrested and got convicted for rape, it wasn't Tupac that raped the girl; it was his boy, and his boy didn't go to jail at all.
And
Tupac he took the whole thing, and Tupac
Mhm.
took it on his shoulders. So, from that standpoint, in my belief, I believe that a lot of times, my own theory is that you can't be an eagle if you hang with ducks.
True. Now, before you get on the baby, big, because it sounded like you was finna go in on him.
No.
It's, that's the way it sounded like to me. It sounded like you was finna go in on him.
No.
See, because what I see, first of all, you know, I sometimes I work out to his music,
Mm-hmm.
and I love his music because I feel the truthness in it. You know, I feel that a lot of his music is from what he has seen and from what he came from. But I want y'all to understand that the baby is a genius.
Okay, I gotta hear this one. Go ahead.
He is a genius. He has captivated. He knows that he can flow, and he has captivated your eyes to a show. Like he really is having his own show. All this controversy that's been going on in his life, he is using that to propel his music. It is a show, and the thing that with the baby got that with a lot of other rappers don't got is real. He has receipts that this really happened.
Yeah.
This really happened. So that makes his music more authentic. So I get where you coming from. You know, don't get caught up in the crowd because it's some snakes. But from what I have been seeing from the baby, everybody that he's with is his own crew. All his people that like do his music, do his concerts, do his screen background. That is his own crew.
But let's be realistic.
That is no outsiders. That's their own crew.
But my only issue with that is that the same thing that happened with him, that his boys is doing this and his boys is doing that, and he's getting arrested after shows. You know, the police, and let's be realistic. I'm not in no way, shape, or form getting on you. I'm not criticizing you. I applaud you because you're one of the most level-headed brothers that keep your head about you and don't be coming out yelling and cussing and trying to argue with the police. You like, okay, I got tapes on everything. I got everything. I got video all through the car to show there was no gun, there was no drugs, there was nothing. That's brilliant. Keep doing what you do, but you got to understand too that all your skin folk ain't your kin folk, and everybody there and everybody who's there ain't there for you.
But you know. That goes for everybody. I mean,
of course.
I mean,
that's why I keep my circle small.
I mean, if you gonna go there with them, you know, like just keep it fair because you can even say, you know, Judas dropped a dime on Jesus.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
So like, you know, you're like, you know, man, this is everybody.
Yes, there's going to be, but my thing is this: is simply put, I look at, and that's why I laugh at people like, who else? You have the Migos. The Migos turn around. They're a great group. They do all this stuff and do all that, but they don't really care. They don't really care. So yeah, it's gonna come when it comes. They're gonna have problems. They're gonna have problems. But so I look at the baby differently because I'm rooting for this guy. I'm actually saying he got everything. He's got what it takes where he could go ahead and do what he want to do.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, what I love about him, and it's reminiscent of somebody like 50 Cent, is that when 50 Cent was seeing the way things were going, 50 Cent got smart and moved. He took the Will Smith Express out of music, and started doing that same thing. I could see that the baby doing the same thing. The only thing is, I don't want him to get caught in a situation where he is sitting back, running behind his friends, and he's trying to be down, where he ends up getting himself caught up.
True. No, me either.
That's the whole thing.
But what I'm, you know, I'm just his genius in my eyes is how he's making it all a show. It's
Yeah.
not just rap with him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's all a show. And then like you said, it's plenty guys that have did this path. Dr. Dre did this path.
Oh yeah. But see, Dr. Dre, the
See?
difference with Dr. Dre and
Dre from the hood.
Dre,
Dre is the hood.
yeah, yeah,
And you see where he went and you see who he was around.
yeah.
And so
But
it's very possible.
But you look at all the things, but see, this is the thing that I love about Dre that's completely different from the baby. Dre had literally, when he saw the writing on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
Dre jumped into business.
Because he's a visionary.
Dre, not only is he a visionary,
visionary.
I got to give it to him. Not only is he a visionary, he not only went in and started doing other stuff, he also already had in his mind, my circle's too big. So when he left Death Row, what did he do? All y'all take it easy.
Have it all.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So everybody here who's still with me, okay, so let's go ahead and jump on this Dre beat
Yeah.
thing, and we're gonna be rich. And that's what happened. You look at Timberland. Timberland is another great producer, great music. Missy Elliott, Tweet,
DJ Khaled.
all these two. DJ Khaled. The difference with DJ Khaled, see, DJ Khaled learned early because DJ Khaled had to deal with Birdman.
Mm-hmm.
And Birdman did him wrong, and then by the time he was really realizing what's going on, he had moved on and started making his music.
True.
So it's one of those things where you got to understand that with the baby, I'm saying you don't get caught up in these situations and let them define who you are, because white America is going to try and define you by these things. 2 Live Crew is a perfect example. Luke, perfect example.
Luke
They had a congressional meeting about this.
Luke was before his time.
Yes, he was.
Luke was before his time.
Mm-hmm.
Jodeci was before for their time, because right now all the music is
still good.
Is Luke foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I was telling my friends that make music, I was like, there's a new genre of music out, and it's called strip club music.
No, see, that was
you
the
can
thing.
make money
Yeah,
making strip club music.
well, see, that was the thing where most of the music. That's where the music went, because a lot of people was, if you couldn't play it in the strip club, because that's what Trick Daddy said it best. Trick Daddy said the music that he made was strictly made to make sure that it can bounce in the strip club, because if it couldn't make it in the strip club, it wasn't gonna make it on the street.
Come on, and I'm on my journey with business, and I like to say can't stop, won't stop, man. Respect to Puff, but the reason why it's certain things that I take a piece, is like, especially you talk about music that like I add to myself. Master P was selling his music out his trunk. Master P said, if one person bowed their head, another person is. Basically saying, keep on going, keep on going. I saw a Puff Daddy video, and it was remarkable to me, because you see the way Puff is now. You look at him now. Puff has a stocking cap on his head. He's talking to guys that are laid back in a chair like this at the pool. Puff is standing up, presenting himself. And I say that is because everybody has that same grind, that same road. Now, like, the path may be different, but that start point and that desire, that fire has to be the same. That's why when you see these guys, I usually don't like to say celebrities, because I think everybody's equal. Like oh man, he a celebrity. Man, he put his pants on the same way I do. Okay, but when you see these guys that are quote unquote have made it, and they can barely know each other, but when they see each other, it's all daps and smiles, because they have that common energy. Like, I know you had to do something.
You got to fight through it.
Because I had to do something.
Yep.
Now we here, so it's all love, it's all happiness, because I know you real. Because I believe that Steve Harvey, I think he was homeless for 2 years.
Shoot. Steve Harvey, see, the thing about it, that's one of the funny things, because I consider myself a historian. I know all about everybody who struggled and became amazing. You got to remember, Cedric the Entertainer worked for FedEx.
Come
He
on,
was
man. That's my
delivering
frat
packages.
brother. You hear me?
He was
Yeah.
he
Come
was
on.
delivering packages.
Come on.
Steve Harvey was homeless. He had a degree. Look at Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry was homeless, living out of his van, writing screenplays,
He said
performing in churches.
his first play, nobody came.
Nope.
And like, you know what Tyler did?
What?
Who we gonna perform in like it's packed house.
Well, see, not only that,
you see, man, he was manifesting that.
but not only
see what I'm
that, you
saying?
got to remember that Tyler Perry, once again, insanely brilliant person, but loyal to a fault. That dude kept the same people that he was sticking in those churches with. Was the same people he had in his movies to this day. He created TV shows for it to this day.
Now you know that he was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
He was on his bunk, writing his screenplays.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I'm gonna be a famous screenplay writer."
They
They laughing at him like, yeah, you know, man, you in here with us.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom, boom. But that's that vision. That's that motivation. That's that he manifests that there.
But see, you also got to remember when you look at Puff. Puff was in college. He left college and he was working for Andre Harrell at Uptown Entertainment. And he already told everybody, okay, my nickname, he said my screen name is going to be Sean
Combs.
Yeah, Sean Combs. He said, but my rap name is going to be Puff Daddy. And it was funny because when he had it and he had Craig Mack and he was already he kept telling everybody, because if you look at a lot of old interviews with him and Craig Mack, we're going to change the world. Bad Boy's going to change the world. Bad Boy's going to do this. Bad Boy's going to do that. And that's when he ended up getting big. Little Kim, the Junior Mafia, Little C, and then he went on and on and on and on. And the thing about it was that they realized and they understood. What I love to talk about, The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Okay.
His story. You know, he played football for the university. He was a Miami Hurricane.
Correct.
Had got a knee injury. Just so happens when he came out, Terry Crews was his replacement. Terry Crews went to the NFL. The Rock ended up going to Canada, playing in the Canadian League. He got waived off his Canadian team he was playing for. Nobody was really trying to get him on any more teams. He had to come back home. He named his business $7 Productions because he only had in his pocket when he came back to the U.S. was $7 in his pocket. And that's why you always look at this stuff on. He has this thing on Under Armour where he says, I had nothing but $7 and I was broke. And I knew two things. That right now I don't have no money, but I know it won't happen to me like this again.
Come on.
And then he went into the WWE. Rest is history. He one of the top grossing actors on the planet.
Yeah.
And he has a mental grind and focus like nobody's business because he knows what it feels like to have nothing.
To be on that other side.
To be broke. To have nothing. Absolutely nothing. So he knows what it takes to keep himself away from it.
And you know, man, people say broke and I understand, you know, like right now, you know, man, it's the woke era. You know, man, everybody woke. You know, man, I'm not gonna
sleep.
like you know, man, I'm gonna just be like real with you. You know, Black Panther came out and we got these black people, you know, wearing the black tribal clothes that they bought at the Chinese store and
the kente cloth they bought from the Chinese.
and like you wearing symbols that you don't even know what they mean and you know, like you got on this African suit and like you got, you know, man, weave in your hair and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is mindset takes time to change. Okay?
Right.
Like your mindset is a conscious way of thinking. Like
cultivated.
Yes, like you just can't fix that mindset. So when you say you're broke and you don't have a job and you're not this and this ain't working, you have to change your mindset and then watch your life take a different direction. Because what you speak is this is our first show. Okay? A year ago, I was in the oil field thinking about being here. You like you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you know, I'm not getting no money for this right now, but I'm here. This seed has been planted. Now I must water it and I must nurture it. I must give love to it. So to just go back to say is, if things ain't going like the way that like you want it to go, just know that it's because you are thinking about that. You are speaking this. You are living this. If you change the way you think and speak and live, that's why when we talk about Puff, Steve Harvey, and The Rock, when he had that $7, that changed his mindset.
So
that
activated his mindset. To me, that's one of the things. That activation
for like greatness. Like, you know what? Okay, I got the $7.
Like.
I'm gonna name my company $7,
and that's what he said.
Because I ain't going here no more.
And that's what he said. And the funny thing about that, you look at Robin Williams. God bless the dead. He said nothing to teach you more than heartbreak, brokenness, and having no place to stay. He said nothing would teach you more than that. He said that's why his comedy was from a place of pain.
Come on.
You look at, and this is the thing, and one of the things that I remember my grandfather, and I talk about my grandfather, and you folks are going to hear about Howard Denver Ray a whole lot. My grandfather used to always tell me, he said, you know why I last longer than most people? Because he said I stand in the fight longer than they did. That's how I get past most of the stuff that they had to deal with. He said I fought longer. And I tell people all the time, you know how I get through stuff? I last longer than what the other guy did. Yeah. If I got to hold a couple of pails out side by side, I'm going to hold them out longer than the next guy.
Like what people don't understand, people want to reach new heights. Okay? But they want to stay in the comfort zone.
Exactly.
And I ask you, how many times have you accomplished something when you were comfortable? Like
never.
Like you accomplished something that meant something to you, and you did it in your comfort zone.
Let me tell you, everything that I've ever accomplished in my life, it had to be outside my comfort zone because if you get in, that's like saying if you're boxing somebody and y'all the same weight, and you keep beating the guy up, are you learning anything?
Nothing.
No. So you got to go to a guy bigger than you, or stronger than you, or faster than you. And you go ahead and you take those beatings, but then when you get to the point where you're starting to win or you're giving more than you're getting,
iron sharpens iron.
You got exactly, and that's the whole point. A lot of things that happen in life that you get confused about, and a lot of things that happen in life that you don't understand, you have to gain that understanding. Just like perfect example. So Jeff Bezos was when he created Amazon. Amazon was supposed to be nothing more than a book depository where you could sell and buy books from, college books. Romance novels, sci-fi, all those different things. He expanded that to fit in everything that he's doing now. He expanded it to where he can sell books, shoes, gym equipment, hats, shirts, clothes. He expanded his business, and each time when he expanded his business, he had to learn a new level.
Come on.
Perfect example. The dude what's his name that created Tesla, the cars?
I know you.
Elon Musk.
His name. Yeah.
Elon Musk turned around, and when he first started doing it, he was like, everybody laughed at him. It was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. You're never going to ever get this done. And he got it done. Say what you want about the man, but he got it done. He had an electrical car. It's not really affordable, Elon. You need to work on that. But no, he got the car out there, and now these cars are selling. You look at most people in their lives, everybody who's accomplished something amazing always fail. Failure is a part of it. But the trick to failure is that as long as you don't stay that.
Steve Jobs was in his garage with his business partner, his friend, and they was hooking it up. And then Steve had to give a presentation on the computer. Steve said, okay, make sure that it talks. And his friend said, Steve, it don't talk. Steve said, make it talk. It doesn't talk. The computer does not talk yet. Steve said, I don't care. Get a boombox and some noise and make it talk. Because he knew it was going to talk one day.
Wow.
He knew. He just wanted to show it talking, but he didn't have it talking yet, but he knew it would evolve to that. Wow. And just don't leave that with like Steve Jobs. Take that as an example to your personal life. Man, I don't care, what it is. Like if you and your loved one are like trying to have kids, okay, Have a room for your kid.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's even pregnant, but you're creating that environment. You're creating that energy. You're
Right.
creating that love in your life for that. Just create like, I want this supreme job. Okay, have you updated your resume, or do you still got this old resume from 2-3 years ago?
Uh-huh.
Sharpen those words up. Prepare yourself. Oh, oh man, I want to look for a job. Oh man, I applied for 2 jobs. I applied for 2 jobs today.
And then give up and say, ain't nobody hiring.
Really?
You know,
Really?
it's funny because when Will Smith made that one movie, The Pursuit of Happiness, he was talking about the guy. I met the guy. I had a good fortune meeting the guy. And he was talking about, and he gave a speech about when he first started working and he was having to go and meet people. And he was talking about cold calling people. And he said he would call 300 people a day.
Come on.
To talk to 20 people to get 10 people to meet with him to get 5 people or 2 people was, I think it was 2 people who actually would go ahead and let him do their financial products. 300 people a day to meet with 2 people, but
and this is old school calling.
Yeah, this is
old school calling.
Can I speak to so and so?
This is old school calling.
I remember them days. I remember them cold calls.
This is old. This is grab the list.
Yep.
This is that grind.
You grab a list. You hope you had a list. Most times they would give you a phone book. I remember Morgan Stanley when I first started. They gave me a phone book and they sat in front of me, and I'll never forget. He sat in front of me and he said, "Let me know when you get finished with that," and walked out my office.
Come on.
But the thing about it is just perseverance, and that brings up to another subject that I find really interesting. This brother who's on YouTube, he's a good guy. You should check him out. His name is Scott Carter. He asked the question, "Are you teachable?" Now, the reason why I find that a very, very interesting subject, because everybody has to be teachable. One of the things that I've learned, and I'll tell you, great man, Frank Elman, he always tells me how he, at the age of 79, is sitting back and he says he enjoys still learning. That is an unfathomable fact. I love to learn. But the problem is that sometimes I find myself, and I'll be honest, I find myself getting in those knacks to where somebody can tell me something that could benefit me, and I don't pay no attention because I prejudge the person.
Mm-hmm. All right, man, you keeping it real.
Instead, and then what I learned is a lot of times what ends up happening is I suffer a setback, and God has a sense of humor when it comes to Larry, because he'll put Larry back around that person.
Come on.
And then he'll be like, tell him what you learned. Mm-hmm. And I have to go to that person and be like, man, if I would have listened to you, I probably could have saved myself a whole bunch of anguish. Mm-hmm. But I didn't. I always try to now listen to the message instead of looking at the message.
And like, this is the way that I take it. Like you can take this as a generational thing, because I feel at my age, I saw the internet wasn't here, and then I saw the internet birthed. Like, I've seen a lot of changes, going on. Like, when I was little, YouTube wasn't here, and now it's here.
Yeah.
I've seen, I think I've seen that I live in the era of the worldly changing.
Right.
Like, I've seen a lot, like,
Evolution,
like, I've seen no cell phones to like, now we're taking pictures on cell phones.
Yep.
So, man, I'm seeing like a whole bunch. So what I take about that is, I look at it as, even if you don't agree with the person, still input that knowledge so you know that this is another avenue of what another person could be thinking.
Yep.
Like, just don't throw it away. You still might not even agree with it, but it's still added to your knowledge base of knowing, I didn't even think a person would even perceive it that way. I still don't perceive it that way, but now I know there's people out there that do perceive it that way.
Yeah.
And being teachable is your greatest asset.
Yes.
If you're a person that's walking around thinking that like they know it all, you really know nothing.
Well, so you got to remember that the reason why that question strikes a chord with me, and the reason why I loved what he had to say, because a lot of people are not teachable.
A lot.
A lot of people are not able to consume knowledge, and this is the thing. And the reason why is for like an entirely crazy astronomical amount of reasoning.
A
But
lot.
one of the main reasons is that that the person that's telling them, whether it be young or old,
Yeah.
the person that's telling them whether what position in life he in, the person is telling them because maybe he felt like preconceived notion of who that person is. You know,
Yep.
the way the person dressed, the way the person
Judging,
acts.
judging a book by its cover.
Exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
you made this complete judgment, and this is why I had to check myself because you make this complete judgment of this person,
Mm-hmm.
and not having all the details or all the information, and then you turn around and you have to swallow crow. You have to eat crow and go back and be, yeah, man, you was right about that. So what I find is funny because there's a lot of kids that are younger, and that's sometimes I like to give a little bit of knowledge here and there. I'll give some wisdom every now and then because it's good to make sure to see if the person can take it in and understand that this is here to help, not here to hurt. But then what I find is that the kids will look at me, and, yeah, okay, and then when the situation falls apart, man, you was right about that. You was so right.
Yeah. It's called, like my mom used to always tell me, life is the best teacher.
Yes, it is.
Life is the best teacher. I mean, it's when you say judge a book by its cover, like how we were talking about, kind of like back in the slavery days, soul food days, this. Man, I was raised on the soul food, raised.
Yeah.
Man, catfish is a birthday dinner.
Yep.
Man, I was eating pig feet by the age of 3. Soul food. So now I have evolved because, like I said, I know I'm not a slave no more, so I don't got to eat those types of quote unquote labels, the like slavery food, right?
So the moment I moved out of my house and the minute I moved away from my parents, my mom, I was like, I ain't eating that mess. I ain't eating this. I ain't eating that. But then again, you also got to remember that when I left home, I had an uncle who had me reading James Baldwin before anybody really knew who James Baldwin was.
Mm-hmm.
I had an uncle who had me read Malcolm X. Had me read The Great Debaters, the actual book, The Great Debaters. He had me reading about Harriet Beecher Stowe. He had me reading about Hannibal. He had me reading all these different things, the Black Panther Party, the 1969 Olympics where the brothers raised their fist in the air and ended up losing their medal.
So like you definitely got a different aspect of culture than what I got. And like that's why it's because when you was born, that's when the come up was really strong and powerful.
Right. Well,
it
was to a point, but then you got to remember, so he also came up during the 80s, so that's when the crack era hit. Yeah. And it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you got to see life on a real destructive level. And it's funny because that's cool. That's a great segue into the one of our subjects. The thing that I would trip me out about the crack era was because it was women that would walk out, be gone from the house for days, leaving their kids in the house, starving and stuff. There's times where you just saw ridiculous amounts of stuff, and I always laughed at how hypocritical people can be, because I remember when Nancy Reagan had to just say no.
Mm-hmm. Now you're going into the rabbit hole. Yeah.
So then you look at, we're going into the rabbit hole right now.
Yeah.
So when she had her just say no.
Man, I think I know where you're going.
And she was talking, this is time to hit somebody on the chin. It's going to hurt some feelings. And guess what? I don't care. I am going to be me. So a lot of feelings, a lot of people were sitting there and they even made jokes about the disease, and they called them criminals, including a presidential candidate, Joe Biden. You had your jokes and you had your fun with it. One of the things that happened, though, because God always brings things full circle. He never goes half a circle. He goes full circle. Opioid hit. It wasn't hitting in the black neighborhoods. It was hitting in white neighborhoods. It was hitting in the same thing where parents were ODing and those poor babies were suffering the same fate as the babies that had in our neighborhood. But y'all didn't see them as criminals, did you? You saw them strictly as people who were hurt. People who needed help.
Now, how you brung that up with the DARE campaign, right? And like you can research this up. Man, this is all factual. This is all receipts. Man, I haven't got it written down to say it verbatim. But you know, okay, you said like Nancy Reagan was like
Mm-hmm.
running into like their program.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, and like I said, do your own knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
What
Do
I have
research.
read was that Mr. Reagan, President Reagan,
Mm-hmm.
was letting that stuff in.
Oh, shoot, of course
From
he was.
CCCC
That was, see, now you're getting
see,
into another favorite subject of mine, because
see,
that's when he had the Sandinistas in Mexico, where he was selling, they was giving him coke and he was giving them
weapons.
guns.
Right?
And
See, like this is that truth.
Well,
This is that truth right now.
This is where this might get us in trouble, because if you remember, there was a news reporter, and this was something, and you can look that up, and I can't remember his name. He was the one. Well, no, he didn't get killed, but check this out. They had one that got killed, and he got killed because he was doing the story in Mexico, and he got killed by Americans, allegedly.
Come on.
The one that was here, that was in Watts, did it and was talking about how the government is pumping cocaine into Los Angeles, Watts, all those black and urban areas. And then when he turned around, they told him they can't print that story. He printed the story. He went with the story anyway. His editor told him, we pulled the story. He kept pushing this story. He ended up supposedly committing suicide in his house because he had all the information from all the names and all the agents.
It's a movie about
and
that
everything. Too. Yeah. And during that time, he had literally lost everything. His family, wife, the United States of America, the propaganda machine that is the United States, took everything from this white dude. And I say white dude for a reason.
That's why I always say, you know, let's not be ignorant and keep this stuff on color, because that's part of the agenda, is to keep us focused on color. They don't care if you white, black, Mexican. If you ain't with the agenda, y'all all in the same boat.
And see, the thing is that, and what's funny about that is, like, if you look at now, and this is the thing, this is where color comes into play, though. Because when you look at how the people who are being treated for the opioid addiction, they're taking them in the hospitals, they're trying to get them treatment, they get to keep their jobs, they get to keep everything that they could have possibly lost. That didn't happen in the crack era. Those doctors was helping those babies, they're saving those opioid addicted babies because the mother was pregnant. That didn't happen. They let a lot of those babies. They let a lot of those young black babies die.
And then that goes back to what you mentioned earlier about like all the pimps and the hustlers. Okay, man, you got this little kid from age of 5. You know, man, like he's eating, like he's eating dinner. Man, he got 3 slices of bread for like 3 days in a row. Now this kid is 16, 17, maybe even 14, and he sees this guy jewelried out, looking good, driving a nice car. He got fine women around him. Well, what do you do?
Exactly.
Did he put some on? What do you think
he every time when he sees you, he give you 100 in front of people so he can look good. Oh man, take this. What do you think he gonna do?
Now
he's gonna follow.
Now this kid is feeding his family.
Yep.
Now you put his family in a predicament because they don't want him doing that, but they tired of starving, tired of being in the cold, tired of living in the projects, so. That's a situation that you have put not this person, but this whole family in.
Yep.
Like, I want you to stop, but we eating, and you able to buy clothes for your little sister to like go to school.
She's dressing nice.
Yeah. Like, how do you tell them to stop? I don't want you doing it, and he knows that his family's getting better.
Exactly.
But he's killing his community.
Yep.
What does he do?
He's going to keep killing the community because he wants to make sure that at least his family lives. Because you got to have that disconnect. You have to create that disconnect.
And like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's like, like you're setting him up for failure. So then he gets caught. He goes to jail for 10, 15, every year. Yep. He's not even the supplier. How's he getting over here? It's getting over here through the planes. He don't own a plane.
Right. Exactly.
But you put the hammer down on him so damn hard.
But, and it's funny because, like I said, the main people who are bringing it over, they don't get hit as hard.
At all.
No.
He doesn't own a plane to fly the shit over here.
It's funny because the perfect example, Freeway Rick Ross, the original Rick Ross. His name is Freeway Rick Ross. Look this brother up. This brother was working with this FBI agent. That's where that movie Snowfall comes from. It's based off of Freeway Ricky Ross.
Yes.
His how his life was and all the stuff that he went to, and you have to understand that he was one of the ones that was bringing up selling drugs on the street. They let him keep the bulk of the money because they just wanted to get the drugs into the neighborhoods. They didn't care about making money. The government didn't care about making money. They wanted to get the guns down in South America. They wanted to get and then they wanted to get the black area, the black neighborhoods inundated with drugs. Once they got the black neighborhoods inundated with drugs, what they do, they brought the police in and started arresting everybody.
That's how it worked. My friend, his name is Eric Jackson. He's from Fort Worth, and he said when he was about 15, 16, it was a train that just stopped on the railroad tracks, and it had been there for about a month or 2, 3 months. So of course, man, it's been there for a month. Just stop, man. People won't start going in there. This is a true story.
They had shoes and stuff in there, and guns. Oh my God,
guns. Guns.
Jeez,
guns. Like it just stopped. You see something that had just stopped for like 3 months, and ain't nobody said nothing.
Right.
And people want to start walking over this. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Let's take a look and see what it is.
Yeah, guns.
I can believe it.
Guns.
It is funny because with the sheer amount of stuff that they was doing, it was just ridiculous. And it was like funny because a lot of the stuff when a lot of the police officers, there was only like 5 police officers who spoke out against what was going on. And when they spoke out against what was going on, they all got fired. They got their careers ruined just by mentioning this, and it was really hectic because at that point in life, and it's funny because you look at today, then you fast forward to right now, none of that situation is happening. The big pharma companies that was doing all this when they was talking about jail time, they're not going to jail.
Mm-hmm. No. Man, I'm not trying to cut you off, but I hear how you talking, and man, I'm feeling a very loving vibration, and man, I might lose a couple votes on this, but like we speaking truth. One of the pet peeves that I got is when black people, I said black, when black people say they don't like the police. I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Those guys are putting their life on the line every day. But you because the police are in the spotlight. There's bad doctors that sell drugs. There's bad school teachers that are having sex with 11-year-olds. There's a bad priest. There's bad people in every profession.
But this is my issue.
There's bad people in every profession.
That's true. But this is my issue.
Profession, man.
But this is my issue when it comes to police. First and foremost, if a doctor gives you some bad stuff, there's a possibility you can go to jail.
Or selling drugs.
Especially prescriptions. But if you look at those opioid crises, how many hundreds of doctors ended up going to jail for that? A lot of them.
Okay.
You look at, my problem is that when you have police officers who, if a police officer, let's take Tamir Rice's case.
Mm-hmm.
It took that police officer 12 seconds to pull into that park, shoot that baby, and drive off. He didn't even make sure that the baby was okay.
Wrong. I'm not.
You have wait. Let me finish. Philando Castile. Philando Castile was sitting in his car. He did everything right. He had his license. He had a legal right to carry. He told the police officer, "I have a gun in this vehicle." Died. You have let's even get more newer. There was a 70-year-old woman in Dallas. Dallas is known for their treachery when it comes to black people.
Mm-hmm.
This 70-year-old woman, this police came banging on her door. I'm not even going to bring up Atlanta Jackson. I'm going to bring up this lovely lady. She answered her door. She's his grandmother. Police swore up and down he was in there. And you're going to let us in. You're going to let us in. They kicked the door open on a 70-year-old woman. Tased her 3 times. At 70.
It is a damn
Slammed
thing.
her on the ground.
Yeah.
Dropped their knee in her back. Now, my problem with this is, and this is the $1 million question, if she was white, would they have did her like that?
Okay. Like I said, I get I get what you're
But
talking. Well, like
in my
what
thinking,
about the
but
what
what I
about the
hate,
priest
but what I
that is
hate,
raping little
but
boys?
what I hate, I'm gonna get to the
What,
priest. I'm gonna get.
what
I,
about that?
I got the priest in line. This is the thing. But what I hate with the police is they always say the one thing. Yes, there are bad apples, but you have to finish the quote. Bad apples do what? They spoil the bunch.
I get it, but
So when you look at it, when you look at it in terms of priests, this is the wonderful thing, because this is why God's actions is always in the right time. Well, a lot of those priests that have been doing this stuff, and they've been doing horrific, and they try to hide and disconnect and switch
all day.
How many people are moving away from these areas where these priests are? How many priests that are doing these things to where even the Pope, because not only because the money was coming a lot less, not only because the states have been telling them, you need to bring that priest back, not only because the government has been looking at the Catholic Church saying, no, we're going to start prosecuting. We're putting you guys in jail left, right, and sideways. So either y'all make a choice on what you're going to do. And that puts that religion on blast. That puts them in front of these people, saying that if you're going to be going to this church, you got to understand these priests have been taking advantage of children, and they moved them out.
But they're not on blast as the police. People generally hate the police. But first of all, well, everybody needs to know, white, black, Hispanic, Indian, everybody needs to know, when you are in any situation with the police, your life is at stake.
Right.
So follow,
but
your life is at stake at that time.
This is the main part, and this is where you got to look at, you have stop and frisk that was in New York, that brought about 2% arrests for stop and frisk. These same cops that choked out Eric Gardner for selling single cigarettes. You have a young man that goes into a black church and shoots 9 people, kills them in a black church. It was a coordinated attack. They take him to Burger King. These are the same cops that had, I believe they had in an outlet that these cops were being questioned because of their actions with Dylan Roof, because the previous time they had arrested a black person who was playing his music too loud. They broke the window out in his car.
I was pulled over. I was about 18. I was pulled over. I hit my blinker. He said he pulled me over because I didn't hit my blinker 150 feet from the stop sign.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, when he pulled me over, he didn't just pull me over.
Mm-hmm.
And if me as being a grown man now, I know more of my rights.
Right.
He searched my whole car.
Mm-hmm.
He searched my wallet. Now, like this is outside.
Wow.
He searched inside my wallet. No, I won't give you the wow. He searched my socks.
Oh my goodness. See,
Take off my shoes.
I wouldn't have did it.
See, but I'm 18.
Uh-huh. I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. See, one thing I learned quickly is
search my socks.
But
he was trying to find something.
And that was the whole thing behind it. He was trying to find something. Last time I got pulled over, and
but I can't throw everybody out the window because
I'm not saying throw everybody out the window. I'm not saying throw everybody out the window. What I am saying though, is when fathers have to teach their sons how to deal with police, there's a problem. But the thing about it is the police are not even the one. They don't even have to care. They're still doing exactly the same thing they've been doing since the inception of the police. They have not changed. They are still doing the same thing that they've been doing since the inception of becoming police officers. You look at the one in Wisconsin.
So what do you say about the good cops that like never get any recognition?
I say simply
never get no recognition.
I say simply put, like Martin Luther King said, since all these famous people want to say Martin Luther King, righteous men fall when they do nothing in the sight of injustice. Those same cops that say they're good cops and they see these cops do this horrible stuff and they do nothing, they're complicit. They are complicit. They are just as bad as the person who's actually doing it, because you're going to sit there and allow them to do it. White, black, what have you, you're all complicit. Even up to and including when that poor lady I was talking about that was 70 years old got tased 3 times, slammed on the ground, had to go to the hospital. You know what the police chief said? Well, we don't know the full thing. We didn't see the earlier part on what they or what she could have did to where it might have been where the police needed to do that.
Well, I get it.
I cannot fall behind it and say I cannot fall behind it.
And like me saying that I feel sorry is not even close to being enough.
But I'm saying as far as with me,
that
I just don't.
We can't hate because I know some.
I don't
good
hate
cops.
them. I don't hate them.
I know some generally good cops.
I know some generally good cops, and they hate to talk to me. They don't want to talk to me and debate me no more because
it's the truth.
Because I ripped them to shreds every time.
It's the truth. I'm saying that you're speaking truth, but I'm saying
in the truth,
like how you brought up Martin Luther King. You brought up Dr. Luther King. I didn't.
No.
You.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is gonna get good, folks.
We can't solve hate with hate. We have to use love. Since you want to bring up Dr. Martin Luther King
and Malcolm,
if it's bad over there, we have to come with love.
So wait, my question also is before I say this, and I'm going to say this with the utmost respect, I also believe, like it was always said, there's a time to use a Bible and there's a time to use a rifle.
Okay.
And we're quickly approaching the time where it's time to grab rifles.
I'm not saying
when you have
don't defend your family.
No. But I'm saying but in the same focus though, we're so, and this is the thing that I find so amazing is that we're so quick to try and find love in despair. Where there's times where we need to stand up and say, you know what, enough's enough. South Africa did it.
Love is your most powerful weapon.
It is your most powerful weapon, but nothing leaves a great imprint like fear.
But I'm not telling you not to.
I say that with all due respect.
Even Dr. Martin Luther King isn't one of them. He's not going to let you harm his family.
Right.
But
this is the expectation, though.
So let's not get out of context.
No, I'm not getting out of context.
Of what Dr. King
is
about.
But what I'm saying is, even what Dr. King was about, even everything that Dr. King was about, he was still considered a terrorist. He was still considered a terrorist. He was considered a domestic terrorist in that time, and he would definitely be considered one now.
Yeah, because he wasn't with the program.
Exactly. So because of him not being with the program and his belief, this is the thing: the police officers are making these decisions. When is it time to say enough is enough?
Well, I'm asking you a question.
Sure.
Why do you think Malcolm X got killed? Because I know the answer.
Oh, I know the answer too. It was FBI. FBI killed Martin.
No.
He got killed because
why?
He got killed because he was about to start working with Martin Luther King to go ahead and take black people into another level of being.
Okay, but go more in depth. Why?
That's a good question because there's a lot of different answers on why, and I don't have all the answers.
When Malcolm was suspended from the nation of like Islam, Muslim, whatever you want to call it, when he went on his voyage to like Mecca,
pilgrimage to Mecca,
he saw
yes
all the different people. So then when he came back, he knew that this worldly thing wasn't just a black and white thing.
Right. So
when Malcolm was all pro-black, he was okay. He was okay.
I'm gonna let you finish it then.
He got into all that when he saw that we all need to come as one.
So generally, there's a lot, and everything he said was true. But then let's add the context to it.
Okay.
Let's add context to it. First and foremost, Malcolm X was hated already. J. Edgar Hoover said that he's one of the most dangerous Negroes on the planet.
Yep.
J. Edgar Hoover, he had
too much power.
He had way too much power. He became the speaking voice of America. When he went to Mecca, he saw blonde hair, blue eyes. He said the same thing that Martin Luther King said, that Bishop Tutu said, that Nelson Mandela said, that everybody has always said. Why is it so hard for you to treat me with the same respect that you feel that I owe you? And white America said what?
What?
We don't care.
No.
And so when you look at, in terms of him, he did not get murdered because he realized that everybody can live together in perfect unison. He got murdered because he wanted to bring that message here to the United States. and start saying, instead, I don't have to deal with you, but we have to coexist. That was the thing.
Exactly.
When he started pushing that idealism of coexisting, not from the standpoint to where he was saying,
He still
we're
wanted to
gonna
get
be-
the black
we're gonna-
community strong first.
exactly, because it wasn't to
still-
where he came. It wasn't like he came back from Mecca and everybody started arm in arm and we
Yeah,
singing,
no, yeah.
hey everybody,
Kumbaya, yeah,
was
yeah.
that what's that called, A Train of Love by the Isley Brothers?
Yeah, come on.
No,
Yeah,
that wasn't the case. Malcolm still was sitting back going, you stay in your area, I'll stay in mine. And perfect example of this. And I'm glad you brought that up, because now in Oklahoma they have found a lot of those mass graves where we call Black Wall Street. And white America did not even want to believe it existed.
You don't talk about that. See, like now you're getting into the education.
No. What I'm getting into,
but like
we're not gonna get into it too deep this episode. We're gonna
save it. But they try to erase it.
But they try to erase it.
Like it never happened.
So since they tried to erase it, everybody do your research. It was Bully, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at in terms of that, and the reason why I brought that up, and the reason why it was important, and shout out to HBO, Watchmen, the first episode, they talked about it. And guess who complained? White America. That's right. Y'all all got mad, and I hope y'all stay mad. Now, back to what I was saying. When they touched on that, one of the biggest complaints that that white America had against black people was what? Y'all lazy, y'all shiftless.
Mm-hmm.
They need to do something. So you had a group of people who did that, and guess what happened to them?
They bombed it.
Shoot, they did worse more than bombed it. Yeah.
The government came to shut that shit down because it was too much. You had Negroes wearing minks, buying stuff from their own store. I'm going to your grocery store. You gonna come to my car dealership.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go to your furniture store.
So
I'm gonna go to your bookstore. It was too much.
So the last, what brings it to, before I close, I want to say this. So Malcolm X had this excerpt, and he said one time, this guy asked him, he said, are things between the black and white better now? And Malcolm X started smiling, and he said, are things better now? He said, no, it's not better now. He said, well, why don't you say that? He said, why would you say that? I mean, things are getting better, right? He said, no. He said, if you stick a knife in my back, now if you stick a 9-inch knife in my back and you pull it out 6 inches, is that better?
Come on.
He said, no. He said, the making it better is you pull the knife all the way out, give me some salve and give me some bandages to heal the wound. He said, y'all stabbed the black people in the back with a 9-inch knife, and he said, y'all even refuse to take the knife on my back, and he said, most of y'all don't even want to believe that the knife is even there.
Ignore it.
There you go.
I mean, you know, like,
and that's one of the things, and that's what builds upon all these other problems. But we have been doing this. This is the first episode. It was amazing. I had a great time.
I hope y'all enjoyed it, because I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I had a ball.
Be back speaking that life, speaking that love, speaking that truth.
Now, please come back, hit us up. Like I said, give us information, comment. Give us information. Let us know what you think. Let us know what's on your mind. Hey, even if you have questions, if you have something that you want to talk about or comments, please hit us up at Age Before Beauty with L and N, I'm sorry, at gmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know what you're thinking, how you feel. We'll look at all your questions, and hopefully maybe a little bit later on down the line, we'll make a little comment section where we can start reading questions online.
Definitely, brother, man. I'm talking about people calling in.
That's a little bit, brother.
I'm talking about people calling in.
We can do it. So what we're looking at is we're creating a culture. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about it all. So please, you got him. He's got the young perspective, a fitness trainer, man, in good shape.
Come on, baby.
I done had a little bit. I took a break, and I got to get back to it. But we're doing it. We're going to go ahead and get this message out. We're going to get this message of love out. Yes, we're never going to disagree. I mean, we're never going to agree on everything. We're going to have our own opinions. And that's one of the things that's going to make the show great. But another thing that's going to make the show great is you. please subscribe. Please watch. Please look out for us. We'll be letting you see and be on everything that we can possibly get on, and we're going to make sure that y'all know that we're here for you. And right, wrong, or what have you, we're always going to be here for you. Anything you want to say real quick?
Oh man, much love. Y'all have a great day. Have a phenomenal day. And remember, baby, it's all about you. It's about that mindset. You know what I'm saying? One love. One is phenomenal.
All right. Bye.